So to make our advent calendar, I have chosen to use the Kinder chocolate. So these are the little sticks, I guess I would call them. In Australia, we do have little packs of these as 4. So 4 lots of 6 make 24. So that is perfect size for our advent calendar. And I'm going to actually sort of put them this side by side, so we're going to get this rectangular look. Now, the idea of this is once it's completed, these sides actually open out, and each day a chocolate can come out. So yes, in Australia, we tend to do a lot of advent that is little chocolates for children. This is kind of a bit of a grown-up version. There's quite a lot of Australian adults or young adults, adults that do quite like the Kinder chocolate. So this was the perfect size. Of course, if you've got a boxed chocolate that's very similar, you can probably adapt to what I've got. But this one is what we're going to use today. And it's going to be 2 stacks, so 3 here and 3 here. And what I'm going to start with is I'm actually going to glue them together. I am going to only glue this section here and this section here, mainly because that will actually still allow these little windows that and part the end that opens out. So the total size of this one is approximately 17.5 centimeters, and it is 8.5 or 8.3 centimeters. So we've got the length and the width, and then the height is they're only, or what did I say? I think about 4 centimeters high. They're not very high. It's not overly thick. So let's start first of all by putting our chocolate section together. So like I said, I'm just going to glue it with our Tombow glue, and I'm just going to glue these so they stick together. It's just kind of easier to do them this way and stack them up so that they don't move. I'm going to basically have a cover around the outside, and I don't want them to be shifting around. I want them to be very stable is the word that I'm trying to use. So it doesn't have to be perfect. Like I said, just keep it in the center there. And it does take a second, particularly this kind of smooth surface of cardstock. You just need to give it a minute to adhere together. So there's 2 stacks is what we're going to do to start with anyway. And then when it all goes together, those 2 stacks will be glued down. There we go. So we got those 2, and I'm going to pop them to the side just to let them dry a little bit. And I'm going to talk about how this process is going to be to put together. Okay. So for this one, I am going to use the traditional labels for the words in this one. Now, I have also created a advent calendar that fits this one. So if this one doesn't fit and it doesn't, you find that it's a bit too big or a bit too small, you can print it slightly smaller. Excuse me. Or you can obviously create your own. It is just a grid with the numbers 1 to 4 in it. So the whole idea is this is going to be something that someone will cross off for every day leading up to Christmas in December. So that is a printable for you, which will be over on my blog as a freebie download, which I've started doing over on my blog for quite a few of my projects. But this one here will be there if you want to use that one. So we are going to use both Real Red and Garden Green for this particular colour cardstock. Oh gosh, I have already cut one of these banner labels, and I've also cut I I used hand cutting actually for this one. So fussy cutting. This is one of the sprays of flowers out of our DSP, and I'm just using the Real Red colours. There are different ones on our DSP that have different colours, or you could obviously stamp it yourself and colour it yourself, but this is sort of a quick way of doing it. Now in there on the edges, I guess, let me grab one and show you what I'm talking about. This DSP can be, there's different ones. This is another one that I haven't used. So it's like got a whole section that you can die cut or hand cut out. But when they come to these these edges, you don't get a full image. So I actually use these ones, which when I've got my dimensional dots, I call them bones. So when we got the bones, I hand cut these so that I get these little tiny gold clusters of leaves, which are great for just embellishing a little bit extra on our card. So you can see here, there's a few here that have got some extra ones, and you just get your fussy cut and cut those ones out. Like for example, here's one here. You can cut it including some greenery, and it just doesn't waste that. Obviously, you've got the back side of this DSP as well, which for this set, it's got a lot of these generic patterns as well. So in that secret C. So that's not what we're using for today. So I'm going to show you this one. So yes, they're all my little die cut ones. It just adds a little bit extra. Okay, and I'm going to follow along with starting off, pop these to the side. I'm going to start by creating the actual box itself and then create an easel that goes on top. So the first thing we are going to do is the wrapping. So, you'll have to apologise for the way that I probably explain this, but I'm going to do this one here, and it's going to be 17.5 centimeters. So I'm just going to pull this one out. So here we go here, 17.5, which is it is long, I know that. Okay, here. And then to do the wrapping of it, I'm going to, let's see, we're going to start by scoring at 4 centimeters here. And I am just thinking 4 centimeters. And then 12.3 centimeters here. This is going to wrap all the way around. So these are in centimeters. So if you don't measure in centimeters and you sort of default to inches, so there is a converter that you can use that I've linked down the bottom. I don't do very well converting between the two, have difficulties with that, so I haven't done that. All right, the next one is 16.3. Now this is tricky. This one here, if you have a look on our trimmer over here, this little measurement here that's printed is very hard to see, but 16.3 is right there, so it's easy to see it there. There we go, another score there. So we've got another side. Now we're going to do the bottom, which is 24.6. 24.6, and you probably, oh no, you can see it, good. Where are we here? 14.6. Okay, and then I'm just going to leave like a little tab that will be a closure, and that one there I'm just going to do as 26, and I'm going to cut that part off. So there we go. So we ended up with 26 by 17.5. Okay, all the measurements will be at the bottom here anyway. That's sort of the easiest way for me to describe it, and then I'll pop all the instructions down the bottom anyway. All right, so let's start first of all by burnishing these with my bone folder. So I have been a really, I haven't been organised enough for Christmas yet. So I have got a few things in the works, but this has definitely been a little bit slower start this year, but that's okay. All right, so this is going to fold together and glue down like so. Okay, so these is going to sit inside. So like I said, we wanted the two ends to be opened. The two ends here will open either side. So this is where your chocolates come out of. And so before I do anything else, I'm just going to glue these down so that they fit in here. 1 and 2. There we go. And I'm just going to add a little bit of glue there. Now, of course, you can use tear and tape or anything sort of adhesive that's going to plonk them down. It doesn't have to be super strong. It's just got to keep it inside its packaging. There we go. Just lift that up a little bit. Whoops. If you just sort of line it up there together, and you can feel where the edges are. So it's going to come together like this really quick, like that, and it's all going to just fold on top of each other. So in order to do that, I am just going to run, again, if you want tear and tape, you can. I tend to use glue on everything. This is not moving. You know, once it's all put together, this is going to pretty much stay on a table or somewhere, and it's going to not move around. It's not a lot of moving parts, so glue is going to be sufficient for this one. Now I've just tipped it on its side where I've added that little tab, and I'm just holding it on its edge just for it to adhere and dry for a second. And that's pretty much the box part of it. It's quite large, but it's going to be suitable for what I want. So the purpose of this one was, I'll be honest, my youngest last year moved out of home, and I made a advent calendar with lots of little treats and ideas for things to do leading up to Christmas, and that was on a tree with a whole heap of little houses that had little boxes. So for this time round, I thought chocolates would be good. Now, here's a celiac. So these particular Kinder ones, the little sticks, they are gluten-free. So that's why we've chosen that one. And we really like that. And it's better than the teeny tiny little chocolate that you get in the ones that we buy in a lot of the shops, without it being too expensive either. All right. So I'm going to pop that to the side. So what we are going to do is we're actually going to put two sides here with some DSP, but I'm going to start the top part now as our easel. So I'm going to make this one an easel opening at the top. So for the easel, I am going to do 7.8, no, not 17.8. Yes, 17.8. Oh my goodness, 7.8. Oh dear, 7.8 centimeters. And I'm going to cut there. Okay. And then I am going to score it at 15. Actually, where are we? 14.8. Because that's going to put our height of our A4. Okay, and this is going to be the entire length of that one, and that's just like we would with a card. And then I'm going to go back a little bit, and I am going to score that one now at 7.5. Could be a little, and it's just slightly different, but there we go. So this is going to create an easel by doing that, and then so that's going to stand up like that on top of here, like that. Okay, so yes, it is a little bit longer, and that's okay. We're going to embellish. Okay, and this is going to be to one end like so. All right, So I'm going to pop this one to one over here, and we're going to start by using this to create an easel card. I guess that's probably the easiest way for me to explain. I am going to use this particular DSP, but I am going to use this back side. So this is going to be reasonably simple to embellish the front. So I'm going to pop that one to one side. I'm going to use my, I've put it to one side now. I'm going to use basic white to start with. Just grab a sheet here. And I'm going to cut this one here, and we're going to do, let me see, 7.3 by 14, not quite 14 and a half. What are we doing? 7.4. Oh my goodness. Put the instructions down the bottom. I will. I promise. Okay, this is where I'm really starting to mess up because I'm trying to talk and do this at the same time. All right, so we're going to, here we go, here. We want here 7.3 by 14.3. So let's do here, the first one here, 7.3, and I'm going to cut that one. Okay, and then this one is going to be 14.3. All right, and then our DSP is going to be 6.8. I'm sorry, I'm just lining it up. 6.8 there. And 13.8 there. Okay. Move that to the side, and we're just going to start by putting that together like that. Now hopefully everybody has started or is partway through creating projects and cards for Christmas. If you don't, this is great because the hop for this month will finish off all of your creating time, so that'll be good. All right, so for an easel card, I'm just going to show you on the side, we are just going to adhere here on the part that is going to stand up. Okay, so we just want glue on the bottom half. Now, if you're really not sure, turn it over and you can already see where the crease is there. And I'm just going to adhere here so that it doesn't go above where our score line is. All right, stick that one there. Okay, I know it looks very plain here at the moment, and we're going to embellish this one. So let me start with some garden green. And the garden green is going to, there we go, it's going to use a little bit of blender brushing, and I've just stuck my finger in that. Okay, let me grab a cloth and take some of that off. Now, a little tip that I've had in my other videos is I have a piece of sheeting, I guess, the plastic that comes out on our stamps. I've put a little sticky dot here with Velcro, and it actually sits, I've got a frame that's right next to my desk on the wall, so they just stick to that. I don't lose it then. I was terrible at losing them all the time, so this is my solution of doing that. Okay, just tapping on so we don't get too much, and I'm just going to do the edges of this one. Like I said, not too much. Don't overdo it. And then we'll do the other side. Okay. I do love traditional colours at Christmas. I do like to sort of occasionally add a little bit of, you know, colour and things like that. But I do like the traditional, have to say. All right, from this one, I am going to grab a block and I'm going to use the, I think I will use Sending Love and Joy today. And that one is going to be stamped off in Real Red. So here it is there. Now, the best way to know how this is going to sit without warping is to put it down. So I'm just going to show you where it goes. There are two different versions, or two different, our banner sort of goes one way or the other, and you've just got to sort of work it out. So there we go. I've got that, and you can see that it's going to sit there. I'm going to bring in my Real Red, and I'm going to stamp that down there. Now our red or red based pigment inks do stain our stamps. The photopolymer does absorb some of that colour. It doesn't matter how much you attempt to colour that, clean it, you will find that that's going to stain. You can use a little bit of Versamark on it first. That gives it a little bit of a barrier, but I'll be honest, it doesn't really do too much. And you just have to accept that the colours are going to be stained. You can see I try really hard not to use it. It's hard at Christmas time because I do tend to use red-based inks. But of course, it's not just red. There are some pinks and some blues that also do also have those pigments in them. All right, so the one thing I didn't bring out, which I have cut, is these gorgeous, this one here we're going to add as well. Now, I'm not going to add any blending to this one, but you can, of course. So I'm just going to just lay it out first to show you how it's going to look like. This one is going to get covered ever so slightly, like so. So this is kind of how it's going to come together. So let me grab some glue and some, I'm just grabbing my dimensional dots as well. Oh, here they are. These are my favorite from the catalogue. Everything's moving. And it looks like I haven't used hardly any, but I have used some. Traditional sparkling sequins, and they are gorgeous. So we're going to use those as well. So let's put some of this together. So this very first one, we are going to just adhere it down with glue. Here. Let's see. Let me just pop this one all together and not do too much talking. Okay, and you can watch this one. Okay, so this is the base, and I'm going to glue this one to here, like so. All right, all the way to the bottom here. Okay, now put the inside of this one. I'm going to cut this one so that we can add it in the middle. Okay. I just need the one. Now, put a little bit of burring on the sides. So now this is just on photocopy paper. Okay, because I just printed off on my printer, and I thought, oh well, it's only just going to be adhered down. If there's no moving parts or anything, you could obviously print it onto cardstock, but this one will do. All right, moving that to the side again. All right, we are going to put this one in here, and it's going to sit there like so. So to do that, I need to put a little border around these, and it's going to sit up. So in order to do that, I am going to move that to the side again, and I am going to just use, again, our DSP, okay, and I will show you. This one here is 6.5 by 7, so we want them to be 7 by 7.5. 7 by 7.5. Just trying not to waste all of my paper, because I'm going to use that in a minute. All right, so there we go, and it's going to adhere. I am just going to trim. No, I won't trim it. We are going to have it there, and you can see a little bit there. Actually, no, I am going to do that. I'm going to do it by hand with my scissors, because that is not cutting very well. I'm just going to cut it by hand. Because it's a straight line, it's not too bad with my scissors. And I don't use my little snips for this one. I do a slightly bigger pair of scissors, because that actually gives you a straighter line. Our little snips are great for fussy cutting, but not necessarily for other things. All right, let me glue that down. Yeah. Onto our DSP. Now, this is then going to be held up with our, which I've popped it to one side now, but anyway, our dots. I'm going to pop that over here, and I'm going to add one to every corner, like so. And then I'm going to add an extra little dot or two to the centers, because this is going to hold the weight or the pressure of our easel. So I'm going to take all of those off, trying not to put all those little bits everywhere. Okay, so this one is going to go here in the center like that, and this will actually stand up like that, and it matches that same DSP. Okay, all right, and then it will fold down like that for when we're gifting it. So we are going to do DSP on the sides as well. I'm going to use a different DSP for this, just to give a little bit more interest, I guess you would say, on the sides of our box. So I'm using the plaid. So this is the back side here. Very, very pretty. I would be probably using this if I was gifting it to somebody who likes really lots of gold and flowers and things like that. My mum would love something like this, but my son, no. I probably would, but he'd be happy, but not, this would be much, much more him. All right, so to do this, we're just going to add our sides. So it's going to be 7 centimeters by, what did I say? 4. So we're going to do 3.5. Doesn't want to today. There we go. I'm going to do 2 of these. I'm going to go to the side. So 3.5 and 3.5. There we go. And then, like I said, they're going to be 17 centimeters long. So may as well do both of them at the same time, as long as it's on the edge there. And 17 there. Now, again, you could do some ink blending and things like that. I'm going to keep it fairly simple. We're going to, of course, once the advent's finished, I'm assuming the box will probably go in the bin, and that's fine too. We don't have to keep things forever. Oops, sorry, it's not in the camera. There we go. So that's one edge. The other edge, oops, here. Just tip it on its side. It's just easier that way. There we go, like so. And that is almost done. All I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a little space in here, and I'm actually going to finish it off by putting just a bit of white cardstock there. That's going to add a little sentiment, add a message on the inside. And this, yes, this is plain. Now, I'm going to show you in a second what I'm going to do with that one. So this here, on the inside here, I am going to make sure it's correct. So I am going to do the 7 centimeters or 6.8. I'm going to do 7 centimeters by, for mine, 6.5. So let's do 6.5 by 7. By 7. And then I am going to, we have got in that particular stamp set here, we've got the to and from, or the just for you. I might put just for you on mine, I think. Where is it? Here it is here. There we go. And I think for that one, I'm just going to use ink, so Memento ink. And when I craft, I tend to end up with everything all over the place, and I end up with hardly any space, so which is quite typical of me. Okay, just for you on the side, like so. And then I'm going to go back with my blending brush, and I haven't even added any more ink. I'm just going to use what's on there. Whoops. Like so, just to do one side. It just adds a little bit more, I don't know, a bit more interest. Okay, now this one will be flat when I put it down. We won't use dimensional dots for this part. We're just going to, oops, no, I put it the wrong way. Try again. Okay. 6.5 by 7. Make sure it's the right way this time. All right, this way. Yep, like that. I'm going to do just for you. Always making mistakes, but that's okay. Too busy talking. Okay, there we go. Now it's probably still got ink on this one, so we don't need a lot, just for that little bit of interest. Hopefully you can see that on the camera. So this is also very interesting. If you don't have blending brushes that are coloured, be careful that you're not mixing your colours when you go to use them. So either mark them somehow, or you're going to have to clean them every single time. There we go, that's better. So it's going to be my little message on the inside there. Okay. So it's going to sit up like that. Now this little bit here, all I'm going to do for that is a bit of twine, because there's a bit of a joke about twine in our family. And I know this is not a Stampin' Up thing. I think we did at one stage, we had this, but I always have the Christmas red and white candy cane sort of twine. I've got lots of it because we do wrap our presents often with some of this, or our tags or whatever. So to do that, I'm just going to pop that down for a second. I'm going to hold it this way. I'm just going to wrap some of it around. I just want it to look kind of like a present. Okay. And I don't want tons of it, but I do want enough. It's going to go around 3 times, and then I sort of fix it up a bit at the end so that they're combining a little bit here. It just sort of finishes off this as well. But like I said, it's kind of just like a present, I guess. So yeah, that's what we're finishing it all off with. Don't worry about where the twine is sitting. Once it's all tied together, it will stretch and itself there. And now cut this off. No, again, remembering that no fuss, no frills for this one, but you can of course do bows and ribbons and all sorts of things there. But this is our advent calendar box. So thank you everybody for joining me. This has been lots of fun. We're going to have great projects for this hop. So make sure you are jumping across and following all the links and looking at all the projects for here. And of course, there's lots and lots of other Christmas inspiration on my channel, and coming up all of November and December as well. So if you are looking for some other good ideas, make sure that you are a subscriber. I have recently reached a little bit of a milestone and had was kind of pleased with myself because I got great following on YouTube. So if you're not already, please follow. That means that you can, any of my videos that are coming up, you can be notified of that as well. But yes, leave me a comment wishing everyone a very early but wonderful Christmas, and I hope we will see you again next month. Bye-bye.